We welcome you on Friday the 13th here in December in 2019. I'm Ryan Fay with you here for a Hoffman Estates Cable TV Sports Network Game of the Week as we're here inside Conant High School, the home of the Cougars, as they welcome in the Vikings from Fremd High School in a Mid-Suburban League West showdown. Now for the Vikings in particular, it has been quite the stretch for their basketball program over the last decade coming into this season alone. Overall, 218 and 69 so far the last 10 seasons for this Fremd basketball program. From a season ago, 22 and 5, 9 and 1 in conference play. They won the West, they won the conference, and they also won the regional that they participated in as well. So far on the season for them, though, a little bit of a rough start. 4-3 overall in the season, 0-1 in conference play. And for them in particular, coming into tonight's matchup against Conant, they're coming off a very convincing MSL crossover showdown against Wheeling, where they won by the score of 54-34. It's getting loud here inside Conant, as you can probably hear the band in the background behind me here. Now for those Conant Cougars, it has been a bit of a struggle to start off the season. No wins so far on the year, 0-6, 0-1 in conference play. We actually just saw them last week when they went to Schaumburg to take on the Saxons. Now for them in particular, when speaking to head coach Jim Maley earlier, he said, quote, "We need to win one so we know what it feels like." And he's mentioned that this team is a young team and that they are continuing to improve each and every game. And also we've been well documented this as well. The start for the Cougars, the 6'5" forward, Devon Ellis. He's going to be a big-time player for the Cougars here on their home floor here today. So we got tip-off, the introductions, the starting lineup, and a whole lot more coming your way. And right now, before we get to those introductions, I'm going to let the Conant students actually get crazy for you.
And now it's time to introduce tonight's starting lineups. First for the Vikings of Fremd High School, coached by Bob Wadowski. A 6-foot senior guard, number 10, Jake Shustall. A 6'2" senior guard, number 12, Max Wexley. A 6'2" senior forward, number 20, Matt Wingen. A 6'5" senior forward, number 33, Cayman Hopkins. And a 6'2" senior forward, number 42, Charlie Towns. And now the starting lineup for your Cougars of Conant High School. 6'2" sophomore guard, number 1, Daniel Hong. A 6'1" senior forward, number 5, Abaz Karafili. A 5'8" sophomore guard, number 15, Michael Sheehy. A 6'6" junior forward, number 32, Sean Beckman. And 6'5" junior guard, number 11, Devon Ellis. Your Cougars are coached by Jim Maley Sr.
A big thank you to our public address announcer inside Conant High School and Derek Feivelson for the starting lineups for both teams. You'll see the Cougars in their home whites going left to right on your screen to begin the opening quarter, while the Vikings in their road blacks with the green trim and numbers going right to left. Glad you're with us on this Friday night here inside Conant High School, the home of the Cougars, on Friday the 13th here in December 2019. Ryan Fahey with you here on the call. Cougars looking for their first win of the season. Vikings looking to get back and continue the momentum they had from their win against Wheeling the other night, back on Tuesday. As at the tip, it's Ellis for the Cougars and Hopkins for the Vikings, and away we go here on this Friday night for Friday Night Hoops. The Vikings team, we mentioned in our open, a decade of dominance overall in the MSL West and in the conference as a whole. There's Cayman Hopkins, the younger brother of Bryce, who was a key component in last year's outstanding team at 22 and 5, regional championships to their credit as well. They fell short in their run to state, but nevertheless a tremendous season in the conference at 9 and 1 overall. Winning the West and winning the MSL as a whole, as driving and getting the underhand through the defense there for the Vikings was Max Wexley, the 6'2" senior guard, and the Vikings get the opening bucket just 40 seconds into our opening quarter. Ellis, highly touted as one of the best players on this Cougars roster. This is a Cougars team that, against an injured Prospect Knights squad, lost by 5, 48-43. They were out-rebounded 52-30. And to be out-rebounded by that much and only to lose by 5 just tells you the tenacity and the never-give-up attitude that Conant had on Tuesday. Sean Beckman with control over to the left arc as he finds Michael Sheehy. That's deflected off and out of play. As a reminder, our officials for tonight's game, Don Williams, Jason McKinney, and Stan Mitchell, all your officials for tonight's contest. Off the inbound from Abaz Kirafili. Into the control of Daniel Hong, who is a lethal three-point shooter. He helped shoot their way back into the game against Prospect, and right on cue, Hong for 3. That's off back iron. We saw him hit quite a bit of threes in our game of the week last week when we saw the same Cougars team at Schaumburg. We'll actually be seeing this Cougars team for a third straight week when we go to Barrington when they take on the Broncos next Friday night for another 7:30 p.m. tip-off. Drive baseline with a jump pass to the left corner, and the 3 is short there off the hands of Matt Wingen. And the rebound controlled to Conant as we're just about 2 minutes into the opening quarter. Kirafili to Hong, who missed on a 3 from the side where Ellis is at now. Just a moment ago on their last offensive possession as Kirafili, with a bit of a hesitation inside, misses the layup. Now Cayman Hopkins, the 6'5" senior forward. This is a very senior-led team. That being the Vikings for head coach Bob Wodlowski. As he get a foul and a block inside as that goes on Sean Beckman. All 5 starters are seniors. Jake Schaufstow, Max Wexley, Matt Wingham, Cayman Hopkins, and Charlie Towns. Only 1 sophomore on this team, Chris Smearose. Well, you have 9 others that are juniors. Excuse me, 8 juniors on this team. 1 sophomore, the rest are seniors. 5.5 to go, still only 1 bucket scored so far. Off the hands of Max Wesley, who just handed the ball off, and that one's stolen away by Devon Ellis. In transition, throwing it down. So Ellis ties it up off the 2-hand slam as he gets the first points for Conant here tonight. Wexley driving, and that one is going to be a reach-in foul as he lost control. Don Williams making the call there as the foul will go on Daniel Hong. That'll be his first and the team's first. It'll be a baseline inbound. Was not a shooting foul when Wexley drove on into the paint. As quickly off the inbound, the 3 from the right corner is good. Jake Schaufstow, the 6' senior guard, puts the Vikings up 3 with just under 5 minutes to go now here in the first. Ellis guarded by Hopkins. Couple of 6'5" forwards going at it tonight. As Ellis once again matching up with Hopkins. Remember, we saw Ellis have to get into the hands of the Wisconsin-bound product for Schaumburg last week, and he had quite the defensive challenge in and of itself. As that was a foul on the floor that's going to go against Conant. And that foul there goes on the Cougars, and that's going to go on Beckman. That's already his second, so he's going to have to come out. So that brings in Brandon Schroyer, a 6' senior, or I should say junior forward rather. As Charlie Towns will bring it into the front court for Fremd. Still a 5-2 game for the Vikings. Towns, the bounce pass inside as it's swung out right and driving in with aggressive there. Max Wexley splitting 2 defenders to make it a 5-point Vikings lead as we approach 4 to go here in our first quarter. He's got 4 points. Ellis at the left arc in control, guarded by Cayman Hopkins, the younger brother of Bryce, who was quite the senior force a year ago en route to that 22-5 record. I mentioned that's going to be the battle to watch. Hopkins versus Ellis tonight as Hong with a kick to the right side for Ellis's 3, and it's short. Offensive rebound picked up as it goes right back to Ellis with the left hand. And Ellis puts his team back within 1 possession as we approach 3.5 to play in our opening quarter. Swung pass to the left side as trying to drive in on Ellis and unsuccessfully doing so with Schaufstow as he took 1 too many steps. As Russ Beaupre now will come on in. And we'll be sure to get you some scores happening around the area on this Friday night as we go along our broadcast here today. As Hong over to the left side as he found Sheehy. Ellis, he's got all 4 of the team's points so far, as he's been trying to get into a better offensive groove to start off his season. As this 3 towards the top of the circle is trying to bank it home there with Sheehy. It's no good, but quickly ahead in transition with the patience in the air. Jake Schafstall makes it 9-4 Fremd. So now Ellis into the front court. So far, it's been the Devon Ellis show. Carafili, as he's guarded there by Max Wexley at the top. As he picks up his dribble, that one is going to be tipped and stolen. And a head off the pass from Schafstall. It's Wexley getting blocked from behind by Ellis. What a chase down by the 6'5" forward. Meanwhile, Carafili's 3, no good. And the rebound to Schafstall. Good stance there by Ellis in that last defensive sequence, but that time driving there was Hopkins. And the Vikings lead goes up 11-4, and a timeout called by head coach Jim Maley. It's going to be a 30-second timeout, as it did look like, though, Brandon Schroyer may have had beaten the Viking defenders ahead into the front court, but the timeout had been called. So as we have this 30-second timeout, we'll let you know some of the matchups taking place tonight. Hope to get some scores as they get reported in as well. And the NSL East, Hersey is on the road tonight taking on Elk Grove. And West action, Hoffman Estates is at Schaumburg tonight. We were just at Schaumburg last week. Palatine is over at Barrington and will be at Barrington next Friday. Over back in the East, Wheeling is on the road taking on Rolling Meadows as well. Some scores up in the northern suburbs. Libertyville at home leads Warren 15-10. And St. Patrick is trailing at home to Carmel of Mundelein by the score of 9-7. That one in the second quarter. And at half, St. Viator leads Joliet Catholic 24-17. So off the 30-second timeout called by Jim Maley. It's Conant's control. Under 2 minutes to play here in this opening quarter. Hong, as he's guarded there by Beaupre, finds Ellis. Ellis on Hopkins, driving in aggressively and using the glass for protection. As Ellis has all 6 of the Cougars' points in this first quarter. And that one deflected out, last touched by Conant. Tyler Berkland now will come on into the ball game, in addition to Michael Sheehy, as Hong and Carafili come out. Just under a minute and a half to go in our first quarter. Glad you're with us for HETV Sports Network Game of the Week here inside Conant High School, the home of the Cougars, for Friday Night Hoops action. That one, Fremd was looking for a kickball violation. It's still a live play. Vikings do get it in their own backcourt, though, and recover. Jake Schafstall inside the free throw line. That's short. It may have been blocked. As Schroyer will get the unofficial rebound, we'll call that one there. As Ellis leaving it for the aforementioned Schroyer. Ellis again with a fake. And the shot is good again from Ellis, who is feeling it in this first quarter. Almost been like 5-on-1 here in this opening quarter, just based on the scoring. As the Vikings look to try to settle it down with the final near half-minute remaining of this opening quarter. Towns, almost a missed pass, and a nice feed inside, right back to Towns from Beaupre. Lead back up to 5, and Conant looks like they may want to hold for the final shot here with the final 16 seconds. But that one not going to work as Towns in transition. Count it, and the foul on top of it. Schroyer got called for it as he chased from behind. So the Vikings will go to the free throw line for the first time tonight, and a crucial swing in points. As for Fremd, Chris Smearose now will come on in, and Eli Schaafstal, the brother of Jake, checking on in. So Towns at the line for the and one, trying to give his team an 8-point lead. He can't. Ball in the air, picked up by Hopkins. Inside shot that turns into a 4-point play when just a few seconds ago it was only a one-possession game. A three at the buzzer is just short off the hands of Michael Sheehy. But a big swing there in the final 30 seconds of gameplay, as just like that, with Devon Ellis scoring all of the Conant points in that first quarter, his effort still not enough, as for 1 quarter of action, the Vikings have a 17-8 lead over the host Conant Cougars. Mentioned that this is a team, that being Conant, that is a young team, but they've been trying to improve every game. And they're trying to get that first win to really get the idea of what a win does feel like for this young roster. To get some other scores happening around the area on this Friday night. In the second quarter, Glenbard South is at home leading Elgin 16-10 in the second quarter. Out of the western suburbs at halftime, Wabanzi Valley leads Nequa Valley at home 26-16. And it's one final between the battle of the Naperville schools. Central at home beats North 53-33. Staying out here in the northwest suburb area, Lake Zurich at home defeats Lake Forest 42-35. And in earlier action as well, Kingland downstate out west defeats Sandwich at home 69-32. Conant will have the inbound to start off this second quarter of play. Garfield the inbound, and the second quarter is underway. So far, 8 points, all scored by Devon Ellis, number 11 in white, and there he is with the ball right there. Inside the paint, looking for double digits, and he'll get it, and the foul. He'll go to the line for the and one to match his jersey number in points. Through 1 full quarter and 12 seconds in, Devon Ellis putting on an offensive clinic here so far. He's got 11. 11 for 11. Although his team is still down by 6. 7:45 to go here in the first half. Smearose to the far side, and he gets it right back as it goes over to Cayman Hopkins. In and out of the ball game is Tafara Okamore, number 24. He came in when we started the second quarter of play. Hopkins driving left side. The pull-up shot is short, and the rebound to Beckman. Hong, who we mentioned is a lethal three-point threat for this Conant team. You even saw him last Friday trade buckets from threes when they fell down by as much as 7 in the opening quarter, and he was able to help shoot their way back into the first half for a while. Schaafstal and Wexley come on in as Jake checks in for brother Eli. And also subbing on out there was Russ Beaupre. Oh, his last touch there by Fremd. It's still Conant possession. Hong now for Ellis. He's in the guard there of Schaafstal, Jake Schaafstal, that is one-on-one. As Ellis stutter step, but he traveled. Stan Mitchell with the call there. Crowd not pleased by it. Charlie Towns back in for Fremd, along with Matt Wingen. Towns will bring it ahead, 6'2" senior forward. Mentioned starting lineup that you heard from earlier is a group of all 5 seniors for this Vikings team. Off to that 4-3 start as this top circle 3 off the left iron, no good by Jake Schaafstal. Ellis the rebound. Ellis, who is the only point scorer so far for Conant, is gonna almost continue that trend as that 3 misses. And the rebound there to Okamore. Jake Schaafstal to the right corner as it wheels towards Towns. Back inside for a good feed. And looking to draw the foul and being successful with it was Schafstall again. Looked like he leaned in for some contact. Either way, it's a blocking foul. As the foul, looks like they got that one on, I believe that was Beckman, and that's going to be his third personal. Remember, he came out earlier in the first quarter because he had 2 personal fouls within the first half of the first quarter, as he has to come out again. Brandon Schroyer will take his spot, just like he did in the first quarter. So Beckman sits again with foul trouble, as this free throw is up and good for Jake Schafstall, as he now has 7, leading all Fremd scorers. Schroyer at the left wing, leaving it off for Hong, who is going to pull up from the left side of the free throw line. That's too long. And the rebound to Okamore. Fremd really controlling the tempo here in this first half. As Schafstall will give it off to Okamore at the right side. Feed into the paint for Towns against Ellis. Not an easy challenge if you're a player trying to score, but successful there was Towns, and it's a double-digit lead for the Vikings. And Ellis lost the handle. That's poked away. Vikings come away in transition. Missed shot, no, but a block foul called again. This one on Schroyer. Schroyer thought he got in position in time, but to no avail. And that's going to be Schroyer's second. Jim Maley, the head coach, not pleased with that call. Talking to the official, and Jason McKinney looking to get his attention, as his first free throw is no good from Jake Schafstall. And the story for Conant has been the Devon Ellis show. All 11 points from number 11 himself, as his second free throw is off the back iron and in. Lead now extended to 11. Ellis. The right-hand dribble in the paint. He's got to look for a teammate, and that one almost got poked away. Carafili now will settle it down with 5 minutes to play in the half. Carafili with a nice crossover. Floats it off the glass, and just a hair strong, and the rebound by Towns. And got away there with a little shove to create separation, but either way, we play on. Towns off there for Jake Schafstall. We saw his brother Eli come into the ball game a little earlier. As Schafstall nicely inside, but it's blocked by Ellis. And that pass overthrown, that's going to be a backcourt violation. An over and back call, nicely done defensively inside by Devon Ellis on the block. So Carafili will inbound just in front of the scorer's table. Throw into the backcourt now for Hong, as he'll bring it ahead. Under 4.5 to play. So far, it's a 5-3 scoring difference in this second quarter in favor of Fremd, as they had the 9-point edge after one quarter of play at 17-8. Carafili for Hong at the top of the circle. He's only attempted 1 3 so far here tonight, as Ellis in. And he's now got 13, and that leads all Conant scores, and that's because he scored them all himself. So with just a hair over 4 minutes to play in the first half, deficit cut to 9, as Bob Wodlowski calls a timeout for the Vikings, as each team now has 4 remaining here. Some of the scores to keep an eye on, as Wheaton Academy hosting here in Prep. Wheaton Academy at home having the 14-4 lead in the opening quarter. We updated this one a little earlier. St. Patrick now at the half leads Carmel with Mundelein 21-10. In the second quarter, Stevenson leads Zion Benton up in Lincolnshire 18-9. And Schaumburg Christian on the road taking on Harvest Christian leads 29-23. That one also in the second quarter of play. Larkin at home at the half leads West Chicago 21-17. Get some more scores. There's some other more matchups as well happening. We'll pass those along to you as our broadcast goes along. So off the timeout from the Vikings, they'll inbound it with a 9-point lead and 4:01 to go here in the first half. You got Jake Schaafstall to inbound as there's cleaning up of a wet spot in the Conant bench area. Some of the team managers looking to dry it up on the floor, so we have a delay there just for that, but everything's all good, and we're back to resuming play. Towns with the left-hand dribble into the front court. The yo-yo dribble will be left off there for Russ Beaupre, who's now in for Fremd again. Beaupre, good pressure there from Hong defensively. Cayman Hopkins, now over for Towns again. Ellis has yet to come out of the ball game here, as he's played every single minute of this first half. Slipping, and we talked about a dry spot being cleaned up perhaps. Wonder if that maybe had to be in effect, as he did slip there, and they called a travel. Bob Budlowski having to talk there with Jason McKinney, one of our 3 officials for tonight, about the slip. And even Jim Haley is kind of going back over to the side at Budlowski saying, hey, the wet spot was over here, now where your player slipped. So Jim Haley backing up his team there, coaching on the sidelines as a whistle and a travel on Ellis. Now scoring's come to a little bit of a halt here in the middle stages of quarter number 2. Still remains a 9-point lead for Fremd. With a 4-3 start on the year. I mentioned they are 0-1 in conference play. That being the Vikings. They lost at Palatine back on the 6th, 46-42 rather. There's a nice escape there as it finds Towns. Kicks out to the left corner, but another traveling call. Both these teams racking up those airline miles in the last minute or so of play. Well, backcourt pressure now shown by Fremd off the inbound, as Ellis will kick it into a third gear. Devon Ellis off the glass, in and out, no good. And the rebound to Max Wexley. But a bad pass. Miscommunication between Beaupre and Jake Schaafstall. Schaafstall didn't anticipate the read. And it looks like that one there, from the body language of head coach Bob Budlowski, that one was on Beaupre. Not communicating to his teammate, trying to bring it into the front court. Also in now for Conant is Ajani Cobb, number 14, who's got the ball. As we approach 2.5 to go here in the first half. Hong. Haven't seen much of him try to shoot from 3. We only saw the 1 attempt back in the first quarter. And he's helped shoot his team back into games when they've been trailing so far through their first 6 losses of the year, as Cobb is going to go for the 3 instead, and he misses short. And Cayman Hopkins with the rebound. Wexley out of bounds. He was looking for contact instead, but he dribbled out along the baseline. As it's Conant ball, still down by 9 with 2:07 to go. Michael Sheehy in for Daniel Hong. Sheehy, the 5'8" sophomore. One of 2 sophomores in the starting lineup for head coach Jim Maley here tonight. Sheehy to the left corner. This 3 ball is up. That's too long. That was Tyler Berkland, who just checked in as well a moment ago. Although it went out of bounds, last touch by Fremd, so new life here for Conant with 1:49 to play in the half. Mention how efficient Conant was against Prospect, even though they lost by 5. They were 16-31 from the field and even 8-16 from downtown. And an inbound steal from Cayman Hopkins. Read that one as Conant was looking in there for Berkland. Hopkins into the paint, shot up, no, but a foul. And that's going to go on Schroyer. That's going to be his 2nd. That's the team's 6th. So another foul away for, or I should say that is going to be the 7th team foul. Either way, I believe it's going to be a shooting foul. So yes, the bonus is in effect, but 2 free throws will be taking place. And the 1-on-1 bonus, if in a non-shooting affair, you get one free throw as Hopkins makes the first one. And say if we were in the 1-on-1 bonus, he does get a second. If he had missed that, in the event we were in a 1-on-1, it'd be a live ball. As Hong now comes back into the game along with Carafili. As Schroyer and Cobb come out. 6'5" Hopkins just palming the ball with the left hand, getting ready for the free throw. He makes it, and it's now 24-13. Hong ahead now for Sheehy. Hong now with it again as we get to the closing stages of our first half. Hong, left corner, Carafili, three, no. And this one will go back over to Towns. Hopkins almost picked up his dribble as this right corner three is good. Russ Beaupre from downtown. The lead is 14. Their opponent has scored 13. Ellis. And speaking of the man who's been scoring for that opponent for Fremd, he misses there. And a little gimpy coming back the other way was Jake Schofstall favoring his left ankle. After him out of that, he's going to get the ball right back. And a bounce pass is not saved from the baseline. And Conant's going to get the ball back. And Jake Schofstall, kind of see him being a little limpy there with his left ankle, and I think he's going to come out, and he is. So the sub is going to be made as Matt Wingen, one of the original starters, is back out onto the floor. And a clarification off that foul from earlier. We mentioned Sean Beckman in foul trouble for Conant. He's on the bench with three. Now Brandon Schroyer on the bench with three as Hong pulls up for the J. As Hong is now the second Conant player to have a bucket tonight. 13 of the 15 belong to Devon Ellis, and the other two now belong to Daniel Hong. As we come down to the final 15 seconds of our half. Beaupre with 10. It's been all Fremd here in this first half so far. Pressure inside. Hopkins gets it off in time, and he misses. And that is the end of the first half of play. Well, the bright spot for Conant has been Devon Ellis. He's got 13 first half points. However, his team trails by 12 by the score of 27-15. Conant outscored in that second quarter 10-7. It's halftime here inside Conant High School. We'll take our halftime break. We'll come back for second half action and more as the Vikings on the road here lead by 12 on the HGTV Sports Network Game of the Week. As you see, the Cougars now taking the floor. Vikings are going to do the same. Back with you here for our HGTV Sports Network Game of the Week. 27-15, Fremd with the first half lead. Ryan Fay with you here on the broadcast tonight. I mentioned an update. We saw Jake Schofstall towards the latter end of the second quarter favor his left ankle. He's currently in the locker room getting taped up. Have yet to see him re-enter the gym, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Actually, we do see him out there now. So he does have the tape on his left ankle, right above the black sock of his on his left leg, and he appears to be moving around fine as the second half is underway. Quick pass in from Hopkins on the feed there for Wingen is no good, but the second chance is successful. As Hopkins delivers, he's got 8, lead up to 14. Mentioned for Conant as we ended the half, as this one is short on the three by Sheehy. 15 points for Conant, 13 have come from Ellis, and now it's 10 for Hopkins for Fremd. As he's off to a nice 4 points here for this third quarter alone. Mentioned the 13 of 15 from Devon Ellis from that first half for Conant. The other two come from this man, Hong, as his three there is no good, and the rebound to Wexley. Max Wexley is Towns to Hopkins. He's already got 4, and that's going to be a charge on Hopkins. Hong takes the charge defensively. And Conant will get the ball back 1 minute into this third quarter of action. Quarter by quarter, Fremd outscored Conant 17-8 in our opening frame, and in the second quarter they outscored Conant 10-7. As Hong will bring it ahead into the front court as he's guarded there by Matt Wingen. Carafili for Ellis, as he's been guarded by Kamen Hopkins a bit here tonight so far. That time we saw him there matched up with Wingen. As Wingen did switch over to Hong in that particular instance, as Hong will leave it for Beckman. He's had foul trouble. He's got 3 here in the game. He had to come out in 2 instances because of foul trouble, as that pass is tipped and stolen. Good defense by Charlie Towns. As the feed inside, turnaround shot is no good from Wingen. And the rebound is Karafili tripped up. Hong will bring it ahead. Ellis, who had the hot hand in the first half, will not have it start off that way here in the second as he misses. Towns with the crossover dribble. Nice feed inside and finishing nicely with the right hand layup. That's Matt Wingen off the nice feed from the top of the key. It's 33-15, and Jim Maley's seen enough here to start off this second half. What a start for the visiting Vikings, now up by 18, 33-15. Jim Maley looking for some kind of answers here to stop this Fremd attack. As we look at some other scores happening around the area on this Friday night. Aurora Central Catholic at home leads Aurora Christian 24-11. At the half, Glenbard West at home trails York 22-13, and York in just a couple of weeks is going to be hosting the biggest tournament in the state of Illinois, the Jack Tosh. And that's played over the course of 5 days, ending on New Year's Eve on December 31st. They need 2 gyms and 32 teams that compete in that. One of those teams competing is one of the teams you're seeing right now in the Conant Cougars, as they begin action in that York tournament on December 27th. In the second quarter now, Wheaton Academy at home leads Gearin 40-22. And in the MSL West action, it's tied at 13 at home for Schaumburg as they host Hoffman Estates. And at halftime, Streamwood leads South Elgin 34-22. So as we get back to our action now, Hong will have it in head for Conant into the front court. Hong crossing the hands with the dribble as he goes to the right corner for Karafili. Karafili now over to Sheehy. Sheehy with the right hand yo-yo dribble. He's having some trouble as he tried to avoid the 5-second call, leaves it off to Sean Beckman, who we mentioned again, didn't see much of him because of foul trouble in the first and second quarters, as it let off with those 2 early first quarter fouls, and he had to come out because of that. And then we saw him in the second quarter, and just a couple minutes in, picked up his third. Almost a miscue there as Karafili scraps it up. On a perimeter passing here as Ellis draws contact from Jake Schaafstahl. That'll be Jake's first personal, team second of the half, as we have just over 5 minutes to play here in the third. Hong circles around. Awkward angle shot off the glass. No, gets his own rebound though. Now it's settled down by Devon Ellis. 13 first half points for number 11 in white. That one poked away and stolen. It's Jake Schaafstahl pulling up for the J, and it is no good. Rebound is offensively picked up by Fremd and Wexley, but he's fouled going up for the putback, as the foul is going to go on Karafili. That'll be his first and the team's first of the half, so that'll send Wexley to the line. Wexley in the game against Wheeling at 15 points. While having a near double-double was his teammate in Cayman Hopkins at 15 points, 9 rebounds. There was a stretch there in that win against Wheeling that Fremd was in a dry spell in that second quarter. They went 6.5 minutes without a point. And it's crazy to think, considering they still put up 54 in the game. Sheehy now for Beckman. And a nice feed for Karafili off the glass, and a much needed bucket for Conant, as the deficit's down to 18. Hopkins against Ellis inside. Hopkins wins the battle. 6'5" versus 6'5", but the player in green beats the player in white. And it's a 20-point lead yet again for Fremd. Hong. Baseline shot, no. Kamen Hopkins another rebound. As he pushes the floor. In for Towns. And he puts it up and in. Good fake there, leading the defender away. And Sheehy, as he was coming in from behind, avoided one defender and went off the glass for the bucket. Now the biggest lead of the night at 22. Ellis at the top of the circle. Beckman for three, no. And the rebound alive and picked up by Towns. Towns, he's going to almost pull up for the three. Passes it off, but it's not going to be a wise choice in the end. Ellis misses, but a block foul call. They get that on Matt Wingen, and Ellis will be at the line for a pair. We saw Ellis attack early inside against Fremd in the first half. Hasn't gotten to that big groove that he got in since here in this second half. As he's at the line for a pair. Ellis, as he misses there. Tyler Berkland now in for Conant, and Russ Beaupre in for Fremd. And Ellis was in a offensive slump in the loss to Prospect. Limited was Devon Ellis to 8 points on 7 shot attempts only. So he got his groove back in the first half. So far in this second, a credit to Fremd, not able to let him get going yet again coming out of the locker room for this third quarter. And that's going to be an offensive foul. A bit of a later whistle, but you saw the separation that Beaupre created. Going with the left forearm as he dribbled with the right hand. So a turnover there, and that's kind of really been the only mistakes we've been seeing overall from Fremd. It's just been the unforced turnovers of that nature. As Ellis will bring it forward. Ellis, a 6'5" junior. As Ellis gets it right back from Beckman. It's Beckman again. As it's now swung to the top, and a bad pass from Carafili as Ellis wanted to go inside. As it's Vikings basketball. Tafara Okamore now into the game. As Charlie Towns comes out. Fremd trying to run away with this one. Up by 22 as we approach 2.5 to go here in the third. Okamore over to the left side for Wexley. As he's guarded by Sheehy. Hopkins into the left corner. Hopkins again. Left hand dribble drive in, but he is fouled. He also looked like he slipped on the floor on top of it, as the foul is going to go on Abaz Carafili. That's going to be the second foul for Carafili, and Beckman's now going to come out. First time he's coming out not related to foul trouble. Brandon Schroyer will come in for him. So the third team foul in this half for Conant. Up the Carafili foul. Jake Schaufstahl for Kamen Hopkins, who pulls up for a three. No good, too strong. And settling it down is Tyler Berkland. Sheehy, the 5'8" sophomore, leaves it off for Berkland. Berkland, oh, and a mishandle there by Ellis. Stolen by Jake Schaufstahl, and he misses the dunk attempt, but it's picked up. Vikings recover. Hopkins will have that one just leak out, stays in play. Saved by Conant, but Fremd scooped up the pieces, and Hopkins gets the two. Oh, what a bad break there for Conant. That's just been the story of the night. Just when you've seen Conant make some momentum, Fremd has found a way to immediately shut it down. As it's now a 24-point lead for the Vikings here on the road tonight. She with a nice move inside. Great feed as well from Carafili. Approaching 70 seconds to go in the third. Rather quick quarter. Haven't had many stoppages as Hopkins with the, I don't know what that was, attempt. Kind of a jump pass shot combination. I think he wanted Okamore while at the same time thinking about a shot. Either way, Conant basketball with 1:06 to play in the third. Hong now will have it as he just came in. Won't be surprised if we start to see if this keeps up. The benches start to empty for both sides as Ajani Cobb is now in for Conant. Saw him earlier in the first half. 45 now to play here in the third. It's Schroyer. Nice feed inside for Ellis. It pinballs around. Ellis does find some space in front and it will roll on in. He's now got 15, although his team still trails by 20. Towns with 20 to go in the third. He's guarded by Hong. There was a wide open drive wheel, and you even saw his bench there, perhaps in the far side of your screen, saying go on in, but he didn't take that option. As Fremd's going to hold for the final shot. Towns finds that lane that his teammates were yelling at him about earlier. Misses the shot. Okamore, second chance, but he's fouled with just under 2 seconds to play here in the third. So Okamore at the line, the first time he's seeing free throws here tonight, looking for his first points of the contest this evening. And that one is missed. He's got one more. Matt Wingen now will step onto the floor as Wexley checks out for Fremd. Second free throw here for Okamore is good. 42-21 with just under 2 seconds to go. Schroyer, that misses everything, and that does it through 3 quarters of play. But the Fremd Vikings continue to pour it on here on the road at Conant as they put up 15 third quarter points as they outscore Conant by 9 just like they did in the first. Outscoring the Cougars, that being the Vikings 15-6 in that third quarter of play. So as we get set here for the fourth quarter of action, at Elk Grove, it's a 37-26 lead for Hersey on the road. Meanwhile, at the half at Schaumburg, Hoffman Estates has the road lead by 1, 20-19. Over in the MSL East, it's Rolling Meadows rolling along nicely in the first half as they lead Wheeling 26-8 in the second quarter. It's a tight one over at Libertyville in the fourth quarter as they only lead at home to 40-36. While St. Patrick is looking to roll to victory at home against Carmel Mundelein as they're in the fourth quarter up 34-19. Another score up is they just begun the second half over at Stevenson. They've got a 16-point lead at home against Zion Benton, 30-14. And it's also a close one over at Bartlett as they host East Aurora. East Aurora up by 1 in the fourth quarter, 51-50. Fourth quarter about to begin. Conant's inbound. They've got a lot of work to do here with 8 minutes in regulation to play. There's a Santa hat toss to our left up top here. I don't know if our producer and camera operator Steve Eisen got one, but he didn't. He just looked around. He didn't get one. Yeah, we'll try next week when we're at Barrington. You never know. Schroyer with control, guarded by Towns. I just mentioned Barrington. That's going to be where our game of the week is next week. We'll be seeing this same Cougars team when they travel to Barrington to take on the Broncos. Well, that for you next Friday for a 7:30 p.m. tip-off on the 20th. Our final game before the holiday break for us as that three from Hong misses. And the rebound to Towns. Conant will have a couple of more games. We just mentioned the one we'll see at Barrington. And then they'll host Rolling Meadows the day after Christmas on the 26th before heading to York for the Jack Tosh tournament on the 27th. As after a few chances inside, getting the bucket and the foul is Matt Wingen, and he'll be at the line for the and one. And for Fremd's schedule to end 2019's calendar year, They'll be hosting Schaumburg next Friday, so they get a week off, and then they'll head to Buffalo Grove on the 23rd before they begin the Wheeling Holiday Tournament starting on Christmas Eve. As that and one is good from Wingen, as he now has 5 points tonight. Hong to Sheehy in the right corner as he comes back towards the top. As that one actually hits off the official there, and Don Williams. Actually, I read that was Jason McKinney that took the contact off the ball. Either way, it was going out of bounds. It'll stay with Conant. Jump pass inside, risky area, but Ellis picks it up and scores. Not the cleanest way to get it, but he'll take it nevertheless, as Ellis now has 17. Leading all scorers here in the ball game. Leading for Fremd is Cayman Hopkins, who's got 14. In now for Towns at the elbow. As left up for three, in and out, no good from Wexley. Offensive rebound, Cayman Hopkins with a nice feed for Towns, who lays it up and in with the left hand. Back to a 24-point lead for the Vikings. Ellis there for Carafili. Sheehy now at the top, as we now have 6 minutes to play. Ellis driving, shot up, tough angle. I don't believe the shot's gonna, or they are gonna count the bucket, I believe. Basket is gonna count. So Max Wexley gets called for the foul. So Ellis at the line now for the and one. So Ellis now, if he makes this, will have 20 points on the night. And he does. We've talked about Conant's struggles, but Devon Ellis has been still a bright and shining spot for this Conant team, despite being winless so far this year. As if you're Conant, you'd love to see the production that Ellis has been providing night in and night out. You just want to see it turn into W's on the scoreboard, and a whistle and a timeout has been called. Bob Widlowski calling it. It's going to be a full timeout. It looks like this may be the time where you may see some more of Fremd's bench start to empty, as they're up by 21 with just over 5.5 to go. Some of the scores that we'll keep an update on, as it's a tight one at St. Joseph, as they lead Montini by 2 at home, 58-56 in the fourth quarter. Bonzi Valley blown away from Nico Valley at home, as it's in the fourth quarter, 46-30. Another game that has gone final. Northridge College Prep at home defeated Elgin Academy 58-31. To refresh the scores one final time here in this sequence. As in the second quarter, Hinsdale Central at home leading Oak Park River Forest by 2, 15-13. So off the Vikings timeout, they'll inbound right to their left side of the bench from our vantage point here. So winging the inbound, and it'll go to Towns. Didn't see the bench empty out yet in terms of player subs, but if the difference on the scoreboard keeps up, you'll likely see that occur. That'll go for both sides even, but still a little bit to go before that does occur. Towns, guarded by Hong. Fremd not really trying to rush anything here, up by 21 as we approach 5 minutes to play. Wexley now over for Schofstall, Jake Schofstall that is. His brother Eli also on the team. Jake mentioned how he had to roll his left ankle back in the second quarter. Has been fine ever since. You just see a little white tape above his sock on the left foot. That's out of bounds, and a foul was called as well, as that's going to go on Schroyer, I believe. Yep, and that's going to be his fourth. So we mentioned some foul trouble from the players in the front court for Conant. We mentioned Beckman's foul troubles from earlier. He sits on the bench right now. He has 3, and now Schroyer playing with 4. As Cayman Hopkins, and a reach-in foul is going to go on Kara Feely, and that's now going to be his 4th. So you got 2 guys now with 4 fouls, and no changes here for Jim Maley and the Cougars. As Fremd will heave it way into the backcourt, and they'll reset. Towns will bring it ahead across the half-court line. Again, you're not seeing much urgency here from Fremd the last couple of minutes. And a whistle, and I think we had a travel. Either way, Conant basketball. And look at some of the people at the scores table, kind of a little confused at the call for a second, but it was a travel. So Schroyer, who we just mentioned picking up his 4th foul earlier, Hong trying to go off the glass, and it works. So Hong now with 4. Mention how he's more of a 3-point shooting threat, has yet to make one here tonight, is trying to drive in, and missing was Jake Schofstall. Careful of that ankle as she trying to go the other way, misses. Oh, and that one hits off the fingertips of Schroyer. Oh, and that got Max Wexley right in the jaw area. He was surprised and shocked by it, more so maybe than hurt. He's okay. It's still Conant ball. Although I think you'll feel okay more so when you're up by 19 with 3:40 to go rather than trailing. Feed inside, nicely done to Ellis, who throws to Sheehy, but it's out of bounds to the Cougars bench. Great feed though inside along the left baseline area. As the Vikings looking to go to their 5th win of the season, go to 5-3 and get their first conference win of the season. And if that was to occur, assuming this result holds, that'll keep Conant winless on the year. They'd fall to 0-7, and now 0-2 then in conference play. Still a long season to go. Towns, as he nearly faces a double team defensively. And a pass there, intercepted, stolen by Devon Ellis, fouled from behind. Matt Wingman was not allowing any Kodak moments there. So Ellis will be at the line for a couple. Johnny Cobb is set to come back in for Conant in just a moment. And George Toffick, number 20, and actually we're going to see a new unit of players for Conant. 5 new guys are going to set to come on in for Conant, so we'll update on who comes in momentarily. As 4 of the 5 are going to come in because Ellis is still shooting. So here's who's coming in right now for Conant. We've got number 22, Ryan Blakely, number 14, Ajani Cobb, number 3, Tyler Birkland, and number 4, Nick Jerami. As now Russ Beaupre is in for Fremd. Jake Schofstall comes out. That free throw missed, so Ellis is going to stay in. Looks like ready to come in for him was George Toffick, as he'll get set to come in at the next whistle. Cobb the defender there on Max Wexley. Beaupre back over to down to Towns, who has 6 points tonight. Hopkins inside, feeds it, and going in on the reverse on the right side is Wingen, as he's now got 7. Gamraoui leaving that one off there as it goes around to the right corner, and I think we had a substitution timeout called, so that was the case. So Devon Ellis now will come out, and George Toffick is in. Tefera Okamore now into the contest as well, as Cayman Hopkins comes out. And so we're going to have another substitution as Eli Schofstall now is in, and he'll replace Charlie Towns. So you've got Beaupre, Okamore, Wingen, Eli Schofstall, and Chris Smiros in. Those are the 5 on the floor for Fremd. Meanwhile for Conant, as that's going to be an over and back, you've got Birkland, Cobb, Blakely, Garami, and Tofik. So those are the new 5 that are out there. And just as I reset everything, checking in for Conant, or rather Fremd, is going to be number 54, Jack Walsh. Walsh now is, well, what's going on here? Well, Ryan Sachs is in, and now it is going to be Jack Walsh. He was going to be the one to inbound. So the benches have emptied out as we approach 2 minutes to go. A little back and forth passing here between Smiros and Eli Schaafstal. Ryan Sachs had the possession there for a second. He just checked in a moment ago. Okamore with it. As the Fremd Vikings from start to finish, wire to wire, never let Conant take the lead, let alone tie. As they're going to improve to 5-3 on the year and get their first conference win, as banking at home is Eli Schaafstal, the sophomore. You know, his brother Jake, the senior, will appreciate that. Another substitution timeout as Conant will continue to empty the bench out. As Ashay Parek now will come on in. Chris Armstrong also in for Conant, in addition to Soham Patel. It looks like everybody active on the roster, I think, has at one point come in, as the Vikings are just a minute 16 away from getting their 5th win of the year and their first in conference play this season. As turning around with a hook shot, nicely done, George Tofik. The 6'5" forward creating enough movement inside to get the hook shot off. As we now have under a minute to play, 51-30 our score. As the Vikings, we mentioned them, they'll have a few more games before they do the Wheeling Holiday Tournament that begins on Christmas Eve. They'll be hosting Schaumburg, then going to Buffalo Grove on the days of the 20th and 23rd respectively, and another whistle and a timeout's been called. There's some more bench players going to come in for Fremd. It's going to be a whole new unit, so bear with me here. Marcin Warzeka is now in addition to Chris Scaria, along with Ed Geist, Chris Reynolds, and Alec Braun. Those are the new 5 out there for Fremd. So everybody going to get a little playing time here today for the Vikings. And meanwhile for Conant, I mentioned we'll see them next week at Barrington, as this 3-ball is way long from Ed Geist. The bench wanted him to get it. The bench just wanted him to chuck up some threes, but looks like the guys out on the floor may think better of it. As the final 10 seconds are going to tick on down. As for Conant, we mentioned we'll see them next week at Barrington, and they'll be hosting Rolling Meadows before competing in the Jack Tosh Holiday Tournament at York High School, and that will do it here for our contest tonight. Final score is in favor of the Vikings, 51-30. They get the road victory. He's actually tied in points for that 4th quarter, 9 apiece. As both teams shake hands at midcourt, Conant's going to fall to 0-7 and 0-2 in conference play, while the Vikings officially now move to 5-3 on the year and get to their first win of the conference, and they, in the standings conference-wise, are 1-1. Once again, final score, the Vikings 51, the Cougars 30. We'll see you next week when we head to Barrington High School when the Broncos take on this same Cougars squad. Again, I want to thank my producer and camera operator, Steve Eisen. This is Ryan Fay signing off. Fremd 51, Conant 30. We'll see you at Barrington next Friday night. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody.